G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back for another episode of Wasteland Survival. So in last week's episode we got the majority of this landing pad done. So now I basically want to complete the landing pad, and then from there I kind of want to start building the Atlas. But before I actually start building the Atlas, there is one more thing I need to do. So as I mentioned at the end of the last episode, there is quite a number of jump drives in that ship. So, and for each jump drive it requires about 1,000 superconductors, and all of those components require a ton of gold. And if we are going to mine that on a planet, then it's going to take us just, an enormous amount of time to do that. So what I'm going to do is, after I finish building this landing pad, we're going to take the Pilgrim back out into space, and we're going to do some mining for some gold with this little ion mining ship. So with all that said and done, let's go ahead and get started. So what I basically want to do with these landing legs, or these legs for this landing pad rather, is I basically want to make them roughly the same as these ones. Now I'm not sure if I make them kind of the same as these ones, if they are going to be, they're going to look like they belong there, because obviously this landing pad is a lot larger than the other ones, or than the other landing pad, and it's also a lot larger than what these legs are holding up. So I'm not exactly sure if that's what I want to use, if I want to make them that width, or if I want to make them maybe one block either way wider, and whether or not I want to make these portions here like 2 blocks thick instead of 1 block, or maybe taper them. So I think what I'll do is, just to kind of start off with, is I'll just kind of make it exactly the same as these ones. So I believe, okay, so it looks like it's just 2 blocks, although which one is the middle? Interesting. Let me just check this out quickly. So it looks like the middle block is the one on that edge there. So I'll need to put a block behind that. So put a block behind there like that, and then let's just take another look at this one, and then we grab this one and we go like this. So we place this one here like that, and then we twist this around, and then we put one there as well. So I think that's about the same as the other side. And like I said, I'm not exactly sure if this is going to be, if it's going to look right, or if it's going to look too small. So what I'll do is I'll actually place these down, and then we'll kind of see what it looks like, and then see if we need to make them any bigger. Alright, well I'll see you in a second. Alright, well I've gone ahead and I've placed down at least 1 pillar, and I can already kind of see that it just doesn't really, I'm sure you guys can kind of tell by now that it just doesn't really look right. I mean, for this landing pad it looks more than adequate. I think it looks sort of wide enough, and it looks thick enough where it looks like it's kind of like a believable amount of support, even though honestly it really doesn't matter. But I kind of do want these things to look right at the same time. So I think what I'll do is, since this is kind of the middle block here, what I may do is I might just push it out to about this point here. So we'll push it out to about here, and then we'll kind of see how it's looking after that. It's not too much wider, but at the same time maybe that will be enough. So maybe I can do it that way, or I can push it out even further again, and I can go like out to about here, and then I can further widen it by putting another block, by starting the other side of it there, and maybe that might be the go. So Yeah, maybe what I'll do though is I'll do one really wide. So one of them I'll do like this. So we'll do it that wide, and then we'll place that there, and then we will leave, so, and then we'll place this block here, the 2x1. So we'll do one like that, and then we will do one like this. So we'll do one extra wide, and we'll see how both of them kind of look, and then I'll kind of make my decision from there. Honestly, I think I'm probably going to go for the extra wide one. And let me just check this out. So yeah, so I've got three blocks either side of that, and then 3 blocks either side of that. So it's kind of a little bit more centered as well. So I think that's going to be like a little bit more of a believable amount of support. And like I said before, it really doesn't matter. It's all going to kind of, you know, it'll all support the pad, and it, you know, it's all kind of connected here. But yeah, I kind of want the thing to look right as well. So yeah, all right. Well, let me basically set up these 2 different styles of legs, and yeah, we'll see how they look like after I'm done. Alright guys, well I've gone ahead and I've placed down the 2 different styles of legs. Honestly, I kind of made my decision when I placed down the first one, which was the bigger one, but I just thought I would place down this one just so that I could show you guys what it looks like. So it's a little bit hard to see, but if we kind of look at it from this angle, it still kind of looks quite small, and we are kind of looking at it from not too far away. So if you just kind of focus your attention on that one and try to ignore that one, it just doesn't really, yeah, it still looks way too small. Whereas this one kind of looks believable. So I think this is probably the way that I'm going to go. I'm going to use a ton of steel plates doing it this way, but like I said, it's more for aesthetics than anything else really. So I think that is definitely the way that I'm going to go. Now the real question is, I don't know if I'm really happy with the thickness of this one as well. So what I may do as well is kind of double this up so that we have like yeah, basically so that it's like 2 blocks thick. Or maybe what we can do is we can use half blocks, although I don't think, whoops, I don't think there is half blocks that will actually, yeah, I don't think there's like half blocks that are like these ones here. So let's have a look. So I don't think there's a half block that's the equivalent of that, at least half the thickness. I think the only ones that they put in the game were like these ones here. So, and obviously as you can see they are totally different sizes. So I don't think I could go half blocks. I think I would have to make it completely, yeah, kind of, yeah, just double the thickness of those. But I don't know if that would look silly. So alright, I guess what I have to do now is grind this one down, or at least grind down the sloped parts, and then add in some more blocks, and then I'll repeat that for all 4 legs, and then we will check it out and we'll see what it looks like at that point. So yeah, once we've gotten to that point, we'll check this thing out. Alright guys, well, let's take a look at what we have done. So yeah, as you can see, all 4 pillars are done. I think it's looking pretty good. The proportion is looking fairly good, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know, let me know what you guys think. Although I think the proportion this way is not looking so good. I don't think they are thick enough. Now the only problem is there's not really too much I can do about it now. Well, there is if I want to weld this by hand, but I don't. So what I'm going to need to do is weld up this first layer, So all 4 of these pillars, I'm going to have to weld up the first layer. And then I'm going to have to add the second layer. Well, I guess I don't have to, but, you know, I want to. So, but while I'm basically discussing this, there's a couple of ways I could do it. So the first thing is I could just literally double the thickness of these, you know, from this point and, you know, from this point. I could just literally double it like that. Or what I could do is I could kind of indent it a little bit. So maybe we could make it go from this point, or maybe we could make it go from maybe like this point here. So, you know, we could just kind of make it look thicker, but also just have like smaller pillars. So I guess what I need to do at this point is kind of weld everything up, as I just said before. And then from there, we can kind of play around with different thicknesses on the sides here to make these beams look like they are wider. But also, number 1, use less materials to do so. And number 2, make it look a little bit more interesting than just these 2 legs. And then maybe also what I can do at another stage is we can replicate that to these legs here. So maybe we can do kind of the same thing, and we can put, you know, a leg like that kind of makes this one look a little bit thicker as well. Although I gotta be honest, I'm pretty happy with the thickness of these anyway, so I don't know if that's something that I'm going to worry about with these ones. So yeah, maybe that's going to be only something that we're going to tackle with this landing pad, although I kind of want it to look the same. But, you know, I don't know. We'll see how it looks. Now, the other issue I have here is that I don't even know if I've got enough steel plates to do this. And you know what the funny thing is? I was kind of thinking back to the last time I actually went and mined a whole bunch of iron. And I honestly think the last time we actually did any kind of decent amount of mining was all the way back in like maybe episode 16 or something like that. And so I think we filled up, I think we got about 700,000 iron ingots. Why is my character not walking on the floor properly? That is bizarre. Yeah, that was bizarre. Anyway, as I was saying, we haven't done any mining for so many episodes, and it just kind of goes to show the power of having a rover like this. And I'm going to use my jetpack because this is really annoying me. I don't know what's going on. My controls are really playing up here. It just kind of goes to show the power of having this rover, filling this up with the ores and then bringing this back to your base. You can live off the amount of resources that you can mine for ages. And I remember posting a link to the atlas on the on Reddit once, and a lot of people said, I don't know why people put these things and say that they are survival ready, because they take an absolutely enormous amount of resources to build. But to be perfectly honest with you, once you build something like this and then you use this with 2 little mining ships on the back to collect a whole bunch of iron, it's really not that big of a deal. Like, it doesn't really take you that long to actually get that amount of iron to build big projects like this. And I mean, what we've done, gee, I don't even know how many hours it's been since the last episode that we actually took this out and then mined all that, all those resources. And yeah, we haven't really had to mine anything again for a really long time. And I don't even think that I've completely filled this thing with iron. Now, ice, on the other hand, yeah, that's kind of a different story. This thing, yeah, in terms of filling up that ship, you got to basically fill this up with ice, which is like, you know, 2 million units of ice just to fill 2 large hydrogen tanks. Although that is these days where they've actually added about, what is it? I think it's like they've increased the capacity of fuel tanks by 3 times. So yeah, anyway, I'm kind of rambling on now, but I kind of thought that was pretty interesting. So now what I want to do is find out exactly how much iron I have left. So let's just check this out. Seems like I've got a whole bunch of iron all over the place though. So I've got 21.7k there, and I've got
fuel low
19k there. So I've got about 40k. Oh, yep, cool. That's understandable. So, how many steel plates have I got left? Come on. Can I get this? Thank you. How many steel plates do I have left? So, we've got 12,000. If I have... What did I say? 40,000. So, I can probably make another... Maybe... Yeah, so it looks like I can make about 5,500 steel plates, or about 6,000 steel plates, and we've got about enough iron to do that. So that should hopefully mean that once all this is made, then I can actually weld these legs up. So hopefully that is enough iron. Oh yeah, that's right. I have no jetpack, don't I? I think I might reload the game because honestly, my character is acting a bit weird. So, yeah, it's like I'm getting stuck on things, although visually I'm not getting stuck on anything. So, like, when I was walking around like, yeah, like right now I'm trying to move forward and my character's just like kind of getting stuck. Like, look at this. What is going on here? What the? It's like he's moonwalking or something. What the? Alright, yeah, no, I'm reloading the game. Alright guys, well I'll see you after I've done that. And while I'm at it, I'll go away and I'll actually weld up all of this stuff. So, you know, I'll grab the little welding ship and we'll weld all this up. And then we'll see how the things are looking like. And then we'll play around with the different designs on making these legs look a little bit more robust. At least in this dimension. I think in this dimension they are looking pretty good, but again, you know, let me know what you guys think of this. So alright, well, I'll go away and I'll do all that, and then I will see you in a second. Alright guys, well I've finally finished welding up all of these things, and unfortunately the sun has gone down, so I've basically parked the welding ship here just to kind of shed some light on the situation. So yeah, as I was saying before, I kind of want to make these things a little bit thicker, but there's a couple of different ways I can do it. I actually thought of kind of a new way to do it as well. So what I could do is I could use these new blocks that they've added in the game. So we could do something like this. So let's just add one of these blocks here like that. And then we will add one of those there. And then what we can do is we can add one of these blocks here like that. And then we can just kind of repeat the pattern. So we can add that one, add that one, and then this one again. Then we can add another one of those, and you know, kind of so on and so forth and so on and so forth. And so yeah, I think this looks, I don't know, just a little bit different than just kind of the same flat, boring kind of side. So maybe it's going to look alright. So yeah, you can kind of see it will have like a bit of a curve to it. The other way that I could do it is obviously the exact same way as that, but we could do something like this where it's like kind of one block further away from the edge. So yeah, we could kind of do it like this, if that makes sense. Yeah, like that. So, and then I think that kind of gives it a little bit more depth than what it would if it was just kind of like these straight blocks like this. And I'll turn my torch on here, so, you know, basically if it was these blocks here, so, you know, like that, or if they were there like that, I think it would just kind of make it look that little bit more interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this side like that, Then I'm going to do this side where it's like kind of one block in from the edge, and the same on that side as well. And I'm going to weld it all up, and we will see which one looks better, or which one I think looks better. I think it's going to be just a little bit better than doing it this way, by using this. And maybe even what we can do is we can kind of replicate that kind of design over here as well with these legs. But I guess we will see how we go. So, alright guys, well, I'll see you once this is done. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure what's going on with the game at the moment, but there seems to be an abnormally large amount of storms. Like, I literally sat in the ship here for about 20 minutes waiting for a storm to pass over so that I could actually show you guys what was going on. We had about 5 minutes of clear skies, and then there is another storm. I tell you, I wish I had this many storms when I was trying to charge the batteries at the beginning of the series, but hey, what can you do? Maybe something's changed, maybe something hasn't, who knows. But anyway, I'll see you guys once this is all done, and then we can kind of make a decision on which way we're going to go with these legs. Alright, and we're done. So, I think that's definitely the way that I'm going to go, here on the left. So, as you can see, I think it's looking really nice. It looks a lot better that way, in terms of dimensions. And then, this is the other way that I was proposing to do it. But I just think this looks a little bit weird and doesn't look right. I kind of, like, once again, I also kind of made up my mind before I actually showed you this, but I thought I would just do it anyway, just so that I could show you what it looks like this as compared to this. And I'm sure you guys will agree that this looks better. Well, I mean, hopefully you will. But yeah, once again, let me know down in the comments, let me know what you think. So yeah, what I'm going to do now is basically replicate that across all of these pillars, and then we can finally get these pillars done. And as I said before, maybe what I can do is I can also replicate that same sort of style here as well. So I will be able to kind of fit it in with this kind of tunnel here, and it won't look too much out of place. The only thing that I'm kind of disappointed about is the fact that it's not daylight, so that we can get a really good look at this. So alright, let me go ahead and finish all this up, and I will see you then. Alright guys, well that pretty much uses every single steel plate I have left. So as you can see, I still haven't even finished these pillars yet, and I probably used somewhere in the realm of about, it would have been about 5,500 steel plates just to get to this point. So we got about half of it done, so I reckon there's a good maybe between 10 to 8,000 steel plates in these pillars alone. So yeah, it's a pretty enormous amount, I guess, but yeah, that's the price you pay for making things look pretty, I guess. So what I'm going to do is put this welding ship back into its hangar. We'll let this thing charge because the batteries on it are getting pretty flat. And then we're going to have to take the Rover out with its mining ships and go and get ourselves a whole bunch of iron. So what I'll do though is I'll probably end up filling the entire Rover with iron, because we are going to need just copious amounts of iron so that we can get the Atlas built, because I think that'll need somewhere in the realm of about 200,000 steel plates, or maybe less. I can't remember how many steel plates it will need, but it will need quite a lot. So I'm tempted just to fill the entire Rover with steel plates and then just kind of go from that point. And then we don't really need to worry about steel plates from then onwards, you know what I mean? So yeah, I am kind of tempted to do that. And I'm also tempted to remove the timers for this hangar because, yeah, it is a little bit annoying, but that's alright. I guess it serves its purpose. Right, so let's go ahead and take this Rover out. And I knew there were a couple of blocks down here that I needed to get rid of. But actually, before I do that, number one, I need to update Or I need to get some bottles of hydrogen. So let's find the O2H2 generator that we have been using for that. Let's get ourselves some hydrogen, and then have I ground down all of the blocks? Yes, I have. Okay, and then the other thing that I want to do is I actually want to go into my GPS and enable all of our iron mines. Now I think from memory it was 6 and 9. So let's show these on the HUD and see if that was indeed the ones that I was looking for. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly go and check these out with my normal jetpack. And yeah, so number 6 was in the valley adjacent to us, or kind of parallel to us, I would say. And have I completely exhausted this mine? No, it looks like there is plenty more iron here. And I think there was also an iron mine up here as well. Yeah. I'm sure there was one here too, but I can't remember what number it was. Maybe it was number 12. But what I'll do though first is I'm going to find the floor of this valley. Then I'm going to basically... Oh yeah, there's silver there. I'm going to basically go out to the point where the valley, where this smaller valley meets the bigger valley. And I'm going to put a GPS marker here. So I think what I'll do is I'll put it here. And then what that'll do is it'll allow me to kind of find where I'm going in the dark. So we'll create a new GPS marker here and we'll call this waypoint 1. Awesome. So now when I come out of the garage, all I need to do is just go to that waypoint 1 and then we should be all good. Or maybe not. That's interesting. Oh no. Right. Let's go and get our body. Hopefully we don't run out of fuel in the process. Or hit any mountains. Okay. Or maybe we will. So I was thinking about creating another GPS marker at some other point, but yeah, I guess I'll just kind of retrieve my stuff for the moment and then we'll worry about that in a second. I'm just going to leave these basic tools here because I really don't need them and I really don't care if I lose them. Alright, so let's get to a point where I can actually see the base. Alright, there we go. So here I'll call this waypoint... Well, what I'll do is I'll name this waypoint 1. And then I will name this one waypoint 2. And let's see which one is which. Okay, so yeah, they're both labeled correctly. Alright, let's take the rover out and let's go and do some mining. So it's actually been a while since I've taken this thing out, which is yeah, as I said earlier, it just goes to show how useful having this rover is, and just the sheer amount of resources you can collect by using a rover like this. So I believe it was number 8. Yep, cool. Alright, so now I just need to get out of the garage so I can actually see where I'm going. But first, I need to turn my lights on, which is that one. Awesome. Alright, so now we'll just head to waypoint 1. And then from there we will head to waypoint 2. Have I got the thrusters on this thing? I don't think I really need them at this point, so I might just turn them off so that we don't need to worry about them wasting power. It looks like I haven't got too much hydrogen in this thing either, which is odd. So Actually, I probably should have put a third waypoint where my body was. And that was kind of another point that was roughly on track to where we need to go. So if I'm not mistaken, I just need to turn left sharply at this point, and then we will find ourselves right in that smaller valley. But before I do that, I think what I'll do is I will raise the suspension quite a bit. So, is that fully raised or is that fully lowered? No, I believe that is fully lowered. Alright, so I want to fully raise it, so we go that way. Alright, cool. That's awesome. So, now we just need to kind of drive up this valley a little bit. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my thrusters on just to give me a bit of an extra push. And I'm going to try and get myself as close to this iron deposit as I possibly can. Although my headlights don't seem to be doing a very good job at this point in time. So that isn't great, but I guess it's not too bad. Alright, well, I think that's going to be kind of close enough. Looks like I'm coming into a bit of a choke point in the valley, so I might just park it there and we'll just leave it at that. Alright, so we'll put the handbrake on. I will turn the thrusters off, and hopefully the Rover should sit here without much trouble. Right, let's go and do some mining. So, as I said, I'm going to grab a whole heap of iron, just so that I've, one, got enough for, you know, what I need to do on the base, and then also I want to have enough so that I can do the rest of the, or do the Atlas, I should say. So, let's unlock that. And have I got the lights turned on this one? I don't think I do. Alright, there we go. So that's a bit better. Now I can actually see what I'm doing. It's a bit weird that it's doing that whole strobing thing though. I think that might have been a glitch and not the ship actually running out of power. Although, yeah, that was strange. Alright, well I've got my first load of iron, so now let's head back to the Rover with all of this. And good thing is that the lights on the Rover are nice and strong, so we can see exactly where it is in the dark. I was kind of worried about... Okay, maybe I should be more worried about the gravity on the planet rather than actually finding the Rover. Or maybe what I'll do is I will actually find the Rover with the bottom of my ship as it is crashing into it. So, let's go ahead and drop all of this ore off. Now, one thing I want to check is I just want to double check that the refinery is actually turned off, and it is. Are the assemblers turned off? Not that it really matters, because the refinery would need to be on to actually make that work. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll just transfer everything that I have in the ship into large 1. And what I like to do nowadays is just go like this. Actually, no, let's go the other way around. So large 1, select this, and we'll just go like that. And then it should move everything across. The only problem is that a little bit of iron ends up in the connectors and the refinery and other bits and pieces. So yeah, that is a little bit unfortunate, but hey, that's what it is. So yeah, you can kind of see here, oh actually, what happens if I turn these off? Yeah, so you can kind of see that this is kind of grinding against the ship for some reason, so I don't know why it's doing that. it never used to do that before, so that is a little bit strange, but well, I guess it doesn't really matter too much. Alright, so if I disconnect, and weirdly the air vent was going crazy as well. I think I put an air vent on this ship somewhere. Yeah, I did. Right there underneath, next to the connector. Maybe I should turn that on. So, hang on. Let's try and find that air vent. So, air vent 3, depressurize on. Alright, and that should hopefully keep the cockpit pressurized and avoid us using oxygen from any bottles that we have. But I don't have any bottles on me, so I don't know. Yeah, anyway. Alright, well, let's continue mining and see what else we can get. Alright, well, that is the entire deposit just exhausted. So I think I managed to get another probably about 600,000 iron out of this deposit. There might be a little bit more up there. That's all right. I'm not really going to worry about that little bit too much. So, and also, as you can hear, the ship is complaining that the fuel is low. That's actually the reactors that are complaining that the fuel is low, because obviously, you know, this isn't a hydrogen ship, so it doesn't really have any fuel per se, but it is complaining that the batteries are full. So also what I've done while I was kind of waiting is I managed to find the other deposit, which was up there, and it is, I think I said that it was number 12 just before, but yeah, it is actually number 12. So I found that. I've turned on the GPS marker for that, so we should be able to find the other deposit. Now let's just see exactly how much iron we managed to get out of this. So what I'll do first though is I'll do the same trick as I did before, and we'll move everything across. Let's search for the rest of the iron, because there'll be some lying around. Yeah, so we've got about 608,000 iron, so that's not too bad, but I think we should be able to get about 2 million out of this whole setup. So that's probably what I'm going to aim for, and then at that point I don't think we'll need to do any mining for iron for a very, very long time. Actually, before I go too far, let's just have a look at how much battery power we do have. Yeah, so I think I've got enough. Actually, in fact, where is this landing gear? Minor landing gear incomplete. Oh, okay, yeah, that must have gotten damaged. So I did actually crash into the mountain a little bit. Not enough to cause some serious damage, but enough so that I damaged the thruster and one of the conveyor junctions. And so yeah, we made a little bit of a mess of the ship, but not too much, and it looks like I actually damaged the landing gear in the process. Alright, so I wonder how far into the mountain I'm going to have to go before I hit this iron deposit. Hopefully I won't have to go too far. Although, oh yeah, it looks like we've hit it already. Oh sweet. Now hopefully we've gotten right onto the vein and we can just go straight back, although that seems unlikely. I like it when the veins are horizontal and they're not vertical, so you don't have to try and dig in a weird fashion. But I think this one might actually be horizontal, but we'll see how we go. So how far are we now? Yeah, I actually think this one might be a horizontal vein, and what I mean by that is like the vein is kind of going in this direction, whereas some of them kind of go in this direction, you know, up and down. And those ones are the hardest to get to, because obviously you kind of have to move the ship in and out, and yeah, these horizontal ones, I reckon they're the best. So, well, let's continue mining. Alright, well, I've done a fair bit of mining, and as you can see, this deposit goes quite deep, although the problem is I can't see where my ship is so that I can get out of this hole.
Ship fuel low.
Yeah. So yeah, as you can see, the deposit's quite deep and it's very flat, which is
Ship
really
fuel
nice. It
low.
makes it a lot easier to mine this deposit. So what I'm going to do now though, because the battery on this ship is running low and you can kind of see them at the top there, I'm just going to park this one up and then I'm just going to switch to
Ship
the second
fuel
miner.
low.
And yeah, this is basically the reason why I have two miners. So this thing with the reactors going on the Nomad should take about 10 to 15 minutes to charge, and that should be plenty of time, yeah, before the other batteries on the other miner go flat. So I think that is definitely the reason why I put the second miner there, because I remember when I was mining for stone, I had to use the smaller mining ship that I had created at the very beginning of the series, and I didn't really want to use that ship too much, but yeah, I kind of had no choice. Which kind of brings me to another point. I think at some stage I might have to mine a bit more, what is it, stone as well, because I think, I can't remember how much stone I have left, but I basically need to mine a whole bunch of stone so that I can actually build some more reactor components, because the Atlas has one large reactor. So hopefully I have enough stone to do that, although I'm not exactly sure. So as you can see, the mining ships are kind of just grinding away at the floor there furiously. So that is a bit strange. I still can't understand why they're doing that, but oh well. Let's go back and do some more mining. So yeah, as you can see, I've got, you know, nearly about 1 million iron. So I think I'll mine until I get about maybe 1.5 million, and I think that should be heaps. I think the last time when I did one of these big mining trips, I got about, I think it was something like, let's drill that out. Yeah, I think it was something like 700,000, and we've lasted probably about 20 episodes without having to get any more iron. So I dare say that if I get about 1.5 million, I probably won't need to mine for iron again for a very long time. Even after building the Atlas, because I mean the Atlas is probably nowhere near as many steel plates as what large portions of the base have been anyway. So yeah, I feel like that should be enough. Alright, well, I've grabbed about as much iron as I possibly can. So now let's head on back to the Rover and get rid of all this stuff that's on my inventory. Or in the mining ship, I should say. So, the only thing is that I don't... Well, I basically went back to base in between the last cut and this one, and I have enough resources in terms of like nickel, silicon, cobalt, gold, silver. Well, not so much gold, but silver and all that sort of stuff. So I don't think I need to mine any of that stuff. But I did kind of check how much gravel I've got to be able to build all of the reactor components that I need for the large reactor in the Atlas. And it turns out that I have about enough... is that connector broken? No, it's working. So yeah, as I was saying, I have about enough resources to make around about 780 reactor components, and I've got about 500. So from memory, I think I need about 2,000. Yeah, I think I need about 2,000 reactor components to make one large reactor. So what that basically means is I need to go and mine a whole bunch of stone. So yeah, it's not really ideal, but yeah, I guess that's just what we have to do. But I've managed to completely deplete all of these mining deposits, and as you can see, we've ended up with about close to 1.6 million iron. So I think that should be plenty for what we need to do. That'll probably last me quite a while. Yeah, it's easily double what we had before. So, and that lasted us like, you know, I think it was, yeah, pretty close to like 10 to 15 episodes. So I think this will last us a very long time. So the only thing now is I just want to check how much charge this miner's got, and it's still got quite a bit. I think this one should be almost full. Yeah, it is. But what I need to do is I need to make sure that the ejectors on each miner are turned off, because obviously I've set the ejectors up to get rid of stone, but in this instance we actually want to keep it. And what I might do as well is just go and check back at the base, because it's really close, so I can just fly there with my jetpack. I just want to check this other miner and make sure that the ejectors on this one are also turned off, because I don't want to hook up to the base and find myself ejecting stone out of this one as well. So cool, that's turned off, and I believe that is the only ejectors, the only other ejectors that I have on the base. So now we can go and do our stone mining, and yeah, so we can build all of our reactor components. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So obviously it just doesn't really matter where I mine this stuff from. I can just kind of mine it from anywhere. But I may as well just mine it from this part here. So I'm honestly not exactly sure how much I need, so maybe what I'll do is, just to be safe, I'll just fill the rest of the rover with stone, just so that I kind of know that I have enough, and I don't really need to worry about it anymore. So alright, well, let's continue mining. Alright, well, I think I've got about as much stone as I possibly can. I think I ended up with around about 700k, so, or maybe it's a little bit more, I don't know, we'll have a look once we dock up, but I hope that should be enough. I mean, I only really need to build another, what is it, probably maybe 800 reactor components, so I'm hoping that the amount of stone that I have managed to mine is going to be enough, but I guess we will find out soon enough. So let's go ahead and dock this up, and I'll try and make this relatively straight, since we are going to go back to base now, and lock it down like that, and then unlock it. I mean, turn off the thrusters. And just because I'm a little bit OCD, I may even just straighten this one up a little bit, because it's on an angle and it's kind of bothering me a little bit. So we'll see if we can get this one docked up nice and straight as well, although the other one looks like it's kind of propped up at the back, so I guess, yeah, that'll do, straight enough. Alright, so let's just have a look in the inventory and see how much stuff we got. So if we have a look for large, so yeah, you can see we've still got about 1.6 to 1.7 million units of iron, which is just tons and tons and tons, and obviously we've got 700,000 stone. So yeah, I think we did pretty well, so it should be alright. And I think I got this done, so I think the sun goes that way, so I think I got all of this mining done in probably about maybe about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Actually no, I think it was probably more like about an hour. So yeah, I think that's not a bad amount of mining for about an hour's worth of time. So alright, let's try and back this thing out of the valley without crashing it into anything, and hopefully we can achieve that. Now this thing is fairly heavy, so as you can see it's like 3.4 million kilos, but yeah, as I said, that's one of the great things of having this rover. It's just the amount of weight that it can carry without having to use like a lot of power to power thrusters or anything like that is, yeah, pretty awesome. So this is definitely a very handy tool to have. And I was kind of hoping that I'd get all of this mining done during the daylight, and it certainly seems like that is the case. So, and I'm definitely glad that I went ahead and I changed the steering angle on those middle axles there, because I think I'm definitely able to turn a lot better and still accelerate. It's still not as good as if I was going dead straight, but I still think it's a big improvement on what it was before I went ahead and adjusted those steering angles. So right, we're coming back up to the base now, so now all we got to do is back this Rover into the garage and get it all hooked up. So have I possibly gone too far? Nah, I think I should be alright. I think I should be able to back up from here. I'll tell you what though, this thing is really slow with all this extra weight. I realised before I actually didn't even have the thrusters turned on, and I was actually still able to drive it pretty effectively, although I was probably only getting about 30 meters a second out of it, so it wasn't great, but it was still driving pretty well. So alright, so I'll get it relatively close to the garage, and then from there I'll switch to the camera view so that I can back it in straight. So alright, let's switch to our camera on the back, and I'm still really chuffed with how this worked out. I think it worked out really good. In fact, before I go too far with the camera, maybe I'll exit the camera's view and I'll just make sure I am relatively straight from up here. Looks like I'm slightly to the left, so see if we can get this straight without bashing into anything. Yeah, I think that's relatively straight. Alright, now let's switch to the camera. Okay, yeah, I think it's looking pretty good. So, if I line this camera up horizontally and vertically, then I should be able to just back straight into the connector and we should be good to go. And it should just hook up. So I think that's pretty straight. Alright, let's see how we go with this. Need to get a touch closer. Oh, I think I can feel the magnetism of that connector. Awesome, ready to connect. Okay, so now everything should now be transferring to the refineries and everything should start refining. So let's just make sure this ramp actually works, and it does. Fantastic. Although, yeah, that's weird, eh? A bit of clang happening there, but it wasn't happening before, so not sure what's causing it now. Alright, so let's just go to the refineries and just make sure that everything is actually being processed. And I think we should have more than enough resources to build all the iron that we need. And from all that stone, I should get a bit of silicon, a bit of nickel, and a few other bits and pieces as well. So what's this doing? This is doing iron. Awesome. So fantastic. All right. Well, while all of that is refining, I think what I'll do is I'll talk a little bit about the recent update that was released, obviously the heavy industry update. So, but before we get started with that, let's go ahead and manufacture a whole bunch of steel plates. So we'll choose assembler 1, and then we will probably make about maybe 100,000 of those. That should be plenty. to build the rest of what I want to, finish off the legs for the landing pad, and then also get a majority of the Atlas done. Alright, so to start off with, I actually like the update. I think it's pretty cool. Certainly some of the blocks that they've added look really, really good. In particular, the refineries, they actually look really good. So the only thing is though, and let me try and bring up one of these refineries. So that's the old refinery, this is the new one. So the only issue with the new refinery is you can see that they don't have a conveyor port on the bottom. So with my base being set up the way that it is right now, I can't actually just kind of drop these in. I would kind of need to move the conveyor ports to the side here. So obviously they would be standing up like that, and I would need to kind of move it to the side there. And what I would have to do is basically, well, for starters, the refineries would be spun. Well, actually no, the conveyor port would end up in the same spot. So I'd need to put a conveyor junction here, and then a pipe that goes from the wall to the refinery, and then it would go to the other refineries, and so on and so forth. So it's a little bit unfortunate that they decided not to add a conveyor port on the bottom. And it is a little bit strange because a lot of the time when Keen Software actually release these updates and they do make the equivalent block, then they tend to put the conveyor ports in the same locations or make the blocks the same kind of size. And the same goes for the assemblers as well. So I think what I need to do though is I need to remove this and add the survival kit to get the whole block lineup. So yeah, you can kind of see this is the industrial assembler, and the industrial assembler is, yeah, just obviously it's yeah, another one block taller than what the other one was, and you can see that it has 2 upgrade ports on the back and 1 on the bottom and 1 on the top. So I could actually go ahead and replace all of these assemblers with those and not lose any speed modules here, because at the present moment I only have 2 here anyway. But the only problem with those is that obviously one side is going to have to be, so if we bring these blocks up again, one side is going to look like that. So, you know, if we're looking at it from this side, then one side's going to look like that, and then the other side is going to look like that. So yeah, that is a little bit unfortunate. I kind of wish they were the same height, but the bottom level was different. Then it would kind of fit in with this base really well. But then again, if I had have designed this room around those when they like beforehand, and if they were actually added to the game, then I probably would have designed this room differently. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to update, yeah, if I'm going to update this refinery room with those new blocks. I just don't know if I'm going to bother doing that. So the other thing is too, obviously they went ahead and they added in some cargo containers as well, and likewise the same thing has occurred with those. So you can see that they have no conveyor ports on the top, and obviously the cargo containers would need to be orientated like that. So again, I would need to grab a pipe from the wall and then move it across to each cargo container, and then we would need to do something similar here, or yeah, but see, that's the problem. I can't really do that because I wouldn't be able to walk and access them here. There would need to be a pipe here, so, and then I would need to forego this catwalk and basically end it here. So yeah, once again, I'm not exactly sure if I am going to add those blocks to the base either. I think one thing I definitely am going to add to the base though is I'm definitely going to add some of these tubes. So if we, so what I'll do though is I'll modify my hotbar here, and I'll get rid of something that I don't need. Alright, so a desk. I don't really need that. Let's have a look at the industrial blocks. Let's add that to the hotbar. and let's go outside and have a look at these. So I think what I can do is I can replace, I can basically get rid of the cover that's covering these tubes, because the old tubes, let's face it, didn't really look that great, and I can actually replace them with the industrial conveyor tubes, the circular ones, you know, the new ones that they added. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's definitely something I'm probably going to do. And then also maybe what I can do is I can add some kind of those new pillars that they've added. That looks like the supports, so I might add them in the middle there. And then what I may do is, let me just grab some steel plates here, and I think also what I'm going to do is we'll grab what can I replace on my hotbar that I don't really use that often. Maybe I'll get rid of the couch, because I don't think I've ever used that block for a while. So let's have a look for these panels, which is these ones here. So what I can do is I can place these ones here, but first what I'll do is I'll change the color to that, and I'll change the skin to that. Right, so what I can do, and what I think I may do, is I'm probably going to put these blocks here like this, and kind of all the way across that way. And as you can see, the skin matches up pretty nicely. I was kind of worried that that wouldn't be the case, but yeah, it looks like it is. So the skin matches up nicely, and yeah, all these lines align absolutely perfectly. And I may do the same thing along here. So, you know, we'll grab our blocks again, and we can, whoop, wrong one. So this one here, and we can go ahead and, come on, where's the flat one? And we can place them along like that. And these should hopefully match up as well. And it seems that they do not. Now that is a little bit interesting. Huh. So I wonder, do I need to go the other way? So let's find these blocks again. So maybe I need to go like that way. So do they line up now? No, they don't. Very strange. Very, very strange. Alright, so it looks like I'm going to have to stick with the half blocks and go a half block here and a half block here. That's a bit weird. You think of all the blocks that would kind of line up with that pattern, these ones would be it. But it seems like that isn't the case. Oh well, I guess that's something we've got to play around with in the next episode. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to end the episode just a tad early. Just because this episode has taken probably a good 6 or 7 hours in behind the scenes work, welding up, placing all these blocks, doing all the mining, all that sort of stuff. So it's yeah, it's really taken me a long time to do that, and then plus all the editing on top of that. So I'm going to end it a little bit early. So anyway, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this episode of Wasteland Survival, and I hope to see you in the next episode of Wasteland Survival. So don't forget, if you guys like this content, then definitely consider leaving us a like, and consider subscribing so that you do not miss another episode. Alright guys, I will see you next time.